Sunday afternoon. I've spent several days making meal prep and meal plans with the once a month, the OM system, and I'm finishing up. This is the grand finale. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be great. It's going to be finished in 30 minutes because I have other things to do in my Sunday. So let's get started. I started off my week by choosing to fill my freezer. So I make single serving meals for myself. It's mostly me eating the meals when I'm home alone without the kids, when the kids are with dad, and then when they're here, we tend not to like the same things. And so the other thing is I love to intuitively eat. I want to eat what sounds good, and I don't like to eat the same thing multiple nights in a row. I don't mind eating them over a course of a longer period of time, but I don't like to eat the same meal every night. And I don't like to cook every night. I like to just be like, what sounds good? All right, great. And I warm it up in the microwave. So that's why I do OM still. Yes, I'm the owner, the creator, and the founder, but I actually still use the product daily. Different than I did when I first started, but I still use it. So I did a cooking day a couple months back and filled up my chest freezer, the small chest freezer I have in my apartment. You could do this in an apartment. And it was like ground zero, filled that puppy up. I had a few meals left, but it was getting low, and there were like, mostly the chicken parmesan was left. So I was like, I need to intersperse some new meals in here. And so I created a meal plan that had 5 different entrees on it, 1 side and 1 dessert, a little bit more ambitious than normal to do, that weren't pasta heavy. Since I had a lot of red sauce ones still in there, I was kind of trying to stay away from that, and made some meals that maybe I haven't had in a while or I might enjoy. And so on Monday night, late, half an hour before I went to bed, I made the meal plan. On Tuesday afternoon, in between a yoga session and picking up my kids, I went to the grocery store and bought the groceries for the cooking day. And then I picked up the kids, I had a few hours with the kids, and then I went to dance class. And then I got home from dance class. This must have been Wednesday. I lie. I did not pick up the kids. I did not have the kids. That is a bold-faced lie. I digress. I went shopping. I made it on Tuesday night late. I went shopping for prep on Wednesday. I prepped when I got home from dance on Wednesday night. And then on Thursday, I cooked a few meals. On Friday night, I cooked a few meals and put them away. You can go back and see those videos. Hopefully, I'll link them eventually here. And then I took Saturday off from the cooking stuff, and I had 2 recipes I needed to get done. So that the ingredients didn't spoil, and because I was very much looking forward to the recipes. However, I got into this quandary with one of this last recipe. So it is cracked chicken, and I debated whether I should do it because I have 2 issues right now. One is that my chest freezer, when I do the addition of how many meals I have left that I've made that need to go in that freezer, and I look at the space, there are too many meals for the space. Now, I can save one of these servings and eat it. I can keep a couple in the refrigerator for a few days, absolutely. But I'm limited on space. But I already had the ingredients chopped up and everything, and I didn't want the ingredients to go to waste. That was more important. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. And then, so I have the space, that's problem number 1. And then I go to find containers. And I had these 3 containers that have matching lids because, you know, we all have that problem, right? The containers without the lids. Don't even get me started. Where do they even go? It's like socks. Where do they go? So I was like, oh, crap. I'm out of containers. I'm out of space. Even if I had the containers, do I have the space? And then a beautiful, brilliant idea hit me. Hold on just 1 second. It's suspense. Or it's Trisha forgot to pull it out before she went on camera. I realized the other day I made these chicken fajitas, and they easily pop out of the containers. And do you know what I also have? I have quart freezer bags. So my brilliant self realized I can solve two problems with this one solution. One problem is having a container to freeze the new meal in. The second is space. So this pops out of the bag very easily. This is chicken fajitas. I just warm this up and put rice over it. I can easily warm this up in a plate. I don't need this particular bowl. I can squeeze the air out of it. And then this fits in my refrigerator freezer in the door even. These containers, not so much. So then I just did that and washed up some of the containers, and voila, solution, problem solved. We are problem solvers here at OHM. That is our number one, that's how Once a Month Meals was created, was solving a problem of how do I get meals on the table that I love, that are healthy, that are made by me, because even though I don't like to cook every night, I like to cook. I like to feel like I've provided for my family, or I've made food for them that's nutritious and delicious. I do enjoy that, but I don't like to do it every night. And I want to spend time with my kids. When they have homework, I want to be present for that. When they have sports and events, I don't want to be frustrated in not wanting to go to those things because I have work to do at the house. So that's why Once a Month Meals, or OHM, was created. We like to call it OHM because we like to put the zen back in your kitchen. So this is cracked chicken. It is basically, I mean, it sounds eclectic, but it's just magic in your mouth. That's what I'm gonna call it, magic in your mouth. It is rice, broccoli, cream cheese, rice, broccoli, cream cheese, chicken, ranch dressing mix, and then it gets topped with cheddar and bacon. I mean, really, you can't go wrong. Cheddar and bacon. And it is made in the Instant Pot, so it's a one-pot meal, just one dirty pan, and it's what we call a passive meal that you're making, so you just set it and forget it, and it's an inactive recipe. So while this has been cooking in the Instant Pot, I can go on and do other recipes or make other things or laundry or whatever else. So this is going to elicit, looks like probably 8 servings total, because like I said, I'm gonna eat one of these, but excuse my shortness. I'm not going to eat it right now. I'm gonna eat it a little bit later, so I'm just gonna save it in here so that you can kind of see that we have 8 servings. And also so I make sure I portion bacon onto it. Now each of them gets cheddar and some bacon. And as part of my prep, Once Meals already prompted me to cook and chop my bacon because I used it for 2 different recipes. So I'm gonna make sure we get enough bacon for this one. And then it's a total of 1 cup of cheese. And if you are very exact and you like the exact measurements, by all means, go ahead and divide and conquer and measure it out. I like to be generous with my cheese and like to not dirty up measuring cups. So I'm just going to add cheese to each of these. You could also add it when, like I could wait to add this cheese until I'm reheating the meal if I wanted. But I don't want to take the chance that I'm not going to have any of the ingredients on hand. So I'm just going to do it now. Some I didn't wash all the lids because some of this is gonna need to cool. And so we're gonna let these cool off camera, actually. Let's do that. One of the keys to not getting freezer burn is to let your meals cool before they go into the freezer. So I'm gonna just set these aside. They won't necessarily cool if they're on the hot oven. So now I am down to my last meal. And this one I went a little bit extra on because typically what I do is I use these single serving containers that I've gotten at Walmart. I actually got them on Amazon. You probably can find them at Walmart. What I love about these is the measurements are on the bottom. You probably can't see them based on the lighting and angle, but this is a 2-cup portion, and this is a 1 cup, and this is a 1 cup. And I love these because I love to have sides. I don't like things to necessarily mix. It's just really, really tasty. So I typically put frozen vegetables here. That's the easiest thing you can do is make an entree, put it here, and then put frozen vegetables on both sides here, or on one side. In this particular case, I was also craving these cheesy potatoes, and so I decided to make the cheesy potatoes for one of the sides. Then you'll see I'm gonna put a frozen green on the other side, and then the main dish. And I've basically made myself a hungry woman meal. This is great for me because, I don't know if you know this, but so this recipe, this is a family recipe. Oven country steak that's on the website that I just love, and I haven't had it in a really long time. One of the reasons I haven't had it in a really long time is that it has Worcestershire sauce in it. And I have a red pepper allergy, and one of the things I recently learned is Worcestershire has red chili pepper in it, or cayenne, in a lot of cases, especially the store-bought versions. And I was like, what? These are the kind of things that like really trip me up because they're hidden things they're hidden ingredients, they're hidden things that you wouldn't think of having cayenne. So like when you go to a restaurant and you say, like you go to a restaurant and you say, does that have any red chili pepper in it? They're probably going to tell you if it has paprika, cayenne, or whatever, but they're not going to tell you if it has Worcestershire. So anything that's like a red-based beef marinade, I tend to stay away from, and barbecue too, because their spice mix usually has one or more in it. And so I'm always kind of stuck. And so when I'm making freezer meals at home, most of the time, with the exception of chicken fajitas, I am making them, I'm making recipes where typically I can't eat them out. So barbecued stuff, so there's certain barbecues that I know that I can eat that don't have those spices in it, usually sweet barbecues. So I do a lot of stuff for myself, and I make these meals at home that I can't eat out, so that when I'm out, I can enjoy those recipes that, yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna turn all of this off and pull this out so it can cool for a minute. Start to cool. Hopefully not burn myself. So this is an oven country steak. It is very old school 70s style. So it's like a red tomato, celery, onion, Worcestershire beef broth with like round steaks that are floured up, so a little bit of like sauce. I don't know. It tastes like my childhood. That's all I can say. It tastes like my childhood. And so same thing with cheesy potatoes. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing. And so I'm gonna dish up the cheesy potatoes first. And I cut them just so that they go in perfectly to the container. Using my handy dandy spatula here. And then when I am going to reheat this from frozen, this will be a meal that in 3 to 5 minutes, I usually start these meals on 3 minutes, cooking for 3 minutes in the microwave. And then I do a little kind of cutting them up or, you know, just, especially if it's a chicken breast for like a chicken parmesan or like a piece of meat, I just kind of check and try to cut through the middle so that it could get heated through. And then, you know, put it on for 2 or 3 more minutes. So in 5 minutes, I can have the lunch of my dreams, the lunch of my childhood, the special dinner of my childhood I can have for lunch in 5 minutes, which is pretty amazing if you ask me. So I'm going to have extra potatoes, and so I'm going to freeze what's remaining, if I can find freezer space, in this pan for it to harden up. And then, so I'm going to flash freeze them, and then I'm going to put them in a container of their own so that I can have one-off meals with cheesy potatoes as well. How do you like your potatoes? Cheesy potatoes, hash brown potatoes, twice baked potatoes? If you're going mashed potatoes, what fries? What's your potato preference? What is your potato preference? All right. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. The green that I'm adding is just frozen green beans. So I just go to the freezer section and buy. Honestly, it is more. These vegetables are more fresh than the produce in your grocer's produce section. That's not the case if you grow your own or if you go to a farmer's market in most cases. But when these frozen food companies, they are literally picking it and processing it right away. So it's at its peak freshness when it's frozen, locking in more nutritional value than honestly what you get in your grocer's produce section. There's that. And now it's time for the steaks. So there's a couple little ones in here that I'm sure cooked down. So I'm gonna separate those, but I cut these in portions that I felt were a single serving portion for me. That's the other thing I love about these kind of meals is that it's what is the portion for me or whomever I'm cooking for. I tend to just be cooking for myself. And so the portion control is also amazing because I'm not overeating. I'm only doing one of these meals, and if I'm still hungry, then I try to find a healthy snack or dessert or something to top off the meal rather than going to the stove for seconds. So these type of meals are also really great for portion control and really controlling what you eat on a daily basis. This one actually looks bigger. on this one. And then there's nice little juices in here. Gonna make sure that each dinner gets covered in a nice gravy. This I decided if the special potatoes got to be too much, I was just gonna make mashed potatoes so that I could have like mashed potatoes and gravy with these. But I went the ambitious route. That's me going the ambitious route. So again, I'm going to allow these to cool off a little bit because it's so steaming before I put them in the freezer. But I have concluded all of my, and I'll try to make a video showcasing all of the meals that I made in the freezer. My overfull freezer. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just out of control. So, oven country steak, cheesy potatoes, green beans, all wrapped up into one freezer meal that is going to go in my freezer. Again, I have 7 of these. I think I have 7 of every meal. So I made 5 different entrees, and I have 7 of each of them, which means that I have 35 individual freezer meals to rotate between in my life over the next couple months as I see fit. So thank you for joining me in these 2 days. If you are watching the replays, I hope that you enjoy them. Please comment with things that you got out the most or recipes that you would like us to feature. Any other questions that you have, and we'll see you over at OM.